One of my favorite lessons in the workbook of A Course in Miracles is Lesson 14. God did not create a meaningless world. I completely misunderstood this lesson when I first did it. I thought, of course not. God created a meaningful world. And then I began to realize that we were being told that the world is meaningless and God did not create it. The ego did. The ego, we, created a meaningless world. And that's why we're so upset. That's why the world is always in a state of chaos and violence and tragedy and comic tragedy as well. When people say, that we're in a particularly tough time, as a course student, I'm relieved to know that it's always a tough time here on planet Earth, and that's never going to change. Now, the good news is that we can use the world for the Holy Spirit's purpose, and that means that as we turn to the Holy Spirit and give Him our darkness, the darkness that we perceive here in the world within ourselves, our burden is lifted and lightened, and we feel enlightened. And then we bring that light back here into our personal lives, our community lives, into society. It depends what your particular life path is, how many people you will reach with your body. But with your mind, you can ripple miracles throughout thousands and millions of lives that you're never personally aware of. You can feel it though. You can feel that your life is full of purpose because now you're a light worker and you're not interested in personal gain, and there's a tremendous gratification in feeling the service you provide simply by knowing what you really are, and that what seems to be life or death here is nothing to worry about. This does not mean that you condone bad actions, and it does not mean that you do not take action if you feel called to take action. That's fine. Everybody is going to take action while the dream still seems to be happening. That's all that happens here is doing, doing, doing. And as you make contact with your inner being, the doing happens effortlessly, and it's no longer a busy distraction. Lesson 14 also talks about our personal repertory of horrors. And I'm sure that you have all felt your own personal repertory of horrors in this play of consciousness that is the theater for the ego. So I found that phrase hilarious and relieving for Jesus to acknowledge that yes, I felt that my life was filled with psychological horror. And I think part of my path, who I'm meant to speak to if you're watching this, are people who are living more lives of quiet desperation. I feel that my life is not a dramatic life. I certainly have my stories. However, I've had an inch-by-inch awakening. And I've had a garden variety neurotic upbringing, kind of Woody Allen style. So it warms my heart that the Course blossomed in New York City, which is my hometown, and that it speaks to that kind of snarky sensibility that New Yorkers tend to have. We're very good at mocking and being skeptical, and if this spiritual path can pierce this mentality and sensibility, then there's something really to it. It got through to Helen, it got through to Bill, and on its own, without any advertising, it just made its way into the world and has been translated into so many languages now. Because we all, no matter where on earth we live, have experienced the personal repertory of horrors that even if your story is undramatic and does not include physical violence or sexual abuse, it doesn't matter, because at the root of those things is psychological and emotional neglect, abuse, attack, and violence, shaming, and things that seem very subtle, things that my fellow codependents may brush off as no big deal, I shouldn't complain about that. Actually, that's where the healing has to occur. So you might want to review Lesson 14 for yourself and do the exercises in there, and please let me know how it goes for you. Namaste.